Every now and then I do some custom work for clients, and I've always found it difficult to price this type of work. The problem nowadays is that people are getting used to paying IKEA prices for furniture, so it can be difficult to charge a price that will actually give you a decent hourly rate, as most people are not willing to pay that. And I'm gonna be honest, I sometimes feel crazy when I send the estimated cost for a custom build to potential clients. So in this video, I want to show you how I built a custom bathroom vanity for a client, some things I've learned so far when it comes to pricing, and I'm going to reveal exactly how much I charged for this build. It is important to say that this is how I do things. There will definitely be woodworkers who price their products differently and who may disagree with me. That's of course perfectly fine. This is just the way I do it, and I think it works pretty well for me. Okay, so I have all of the parts pretty much ready for glue up. So we have these two dividers, the bottom, the top, and the two sides. And then we're gonna have one board across at the back. Now, the problem now is that I want to use some biscuits in the corners here, but the biscuits that I have are too big. So if I have my biscuit jointer at the regular setting, then they will actually go through these boards because the boards are too thin. So I'm going to have to put the setting on, actually a smaller biscuit. And then I'm just going to have to sand these down to fit. So that should be fine. I've done that before. For the bottom, I can put some screws in. So that shouldn't really be a worry. I'm also going to make sure that I sand all of these parts before assembling. One of the first big custom builds I did as a woodworker was actually back in 2018, so that's like 7 years ago now. A client wanted a shuffleboard and they asked me if I could make it cheaper than what it would cost to order it from a store. I've gotten that question so many times and I think it's weird. Why would a custom handmade furniture cost less than a factory-made, mass-produced furniture? I don't know, it makes no sense. But at that point of my woodworking career, I just wanted to get clients, so I said, I'll see what I can do. So I started planning this shuffleboard build, and after all the drawings were done, I thought, this is gonna be easy. This will be a quick build. So I said I could build it for $1,200, which for me at the time was quite a lot of money for a woodworking project. I ended up spending 5 weeks working on that project. And after at least $300 to $400 of material and VATs and taxes was paid, I was left with a very cool looking shuffleboard and a super happy client, but very little money. I recently got this email from YouTube that says, congratulations, you just hit 8 million views on your channel. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who's watched my videos. 8 million views, that is crazy. We are 5.5 million people living here in Norway. So the fact that I have 8 million views on my channel is insane. Now, at the same time, I've got to be completely honest and say that this has made me feel a bit bad. And I hate to complain about this, but it is so easy to compare yourself to other YouTubers. So I've been doing this for 8 years and I have 8 million views. And then I go on YouTube and I see YouTubers who have been doing this for 1 year and they are maybe getting 8 million views on one video. Another thing that I struggle with is the fact that the videos that have performed well for me are the videos that I don't really enjoy making. It's the clickbaited videos that are perfected for YouTube that are getting the most views. While the videos that I've actually enjoyed making, enjoyed editing, and that I am really proud of are only getting 5 to 10,000 views, or maybe even less. So my big goal for this channel has always been to do bigger projects that go over a longer period of time. And my big goal is to buy an abandoned farm here in Norway and renovate it completely. But now I am 27, which I know is not that old, but still, I would have thought that I would be there by now. So that gap between where I expected to be and where I actually am right now, it's just something that I find really hard to come to terms with and not just like push myself down for it. Now, I'm really considering getting a therapist to maybe help me see things from a new perspective, give me some advice and techniques on how I should navigate this. And I am probably going to try BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the paid partner of this video, and they are on a mission to make starting therapy easier. So you just fill out a questionnaire and you get matched with a therapist as soon as possible. And you can easily switch therapists at no extra cost if it's not the right fit for you. They have over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot. So BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. So if you also want to join, you can click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/aribaloni, and that will give you 10% off your first month of therapy.
Okay, so that got pretty serious. Let's get back to the shuffleboard. I learned at least 2 very important lessons from this project. Number 1, always overestimate. Overestimate the time you think you're going to spend on a project. It almost always takes longer than you think, or at least longer than I think. And after you have overestimated, add in a little bit more just in case something unforeseen happens. So I will add roughly 25% to the price. It has happened plenty of times that I've worked on a project and I've reached the number of hours I estimated I would use, and then I still have a lot of work left. And it sort of feels like you're working for free, which is not that fun. Now, the second lesson I learned was that when giving an estimated cost, don't give an exact number, but a range. So instead of saying that something would cost exactly $850, I will say that it's going to end up somewhere between $800 and $1,000. So give yourself a bit of leeway. Now, how big that range is will depend on how big the cost is. But I usually give a range of roughly 25%. So obviously, I'm not gonna say that something would cost between $0 and $1,000, but I could give a range of $4,000 to $5,000 for a bigger project. And then the question becomes, what if you end up outside of that range? So let's say you've given an estimation of $1,600 to $2,000 for a custom build, but it ends up actually costing you $1,400. Then you have 2 choices. You can either charge $1,400, which is less than the estimated price, and you'll probably get a really happy client who'll almost feel like they saved money. Or you can charge $1,600 and you'll still get a super happy client since you charged on the very low end of the range and you make an extra $200. You're still within the price range that the client agreed to beforehand. They get the product that they ordered. They'll just be happy that it ended up at the very low end of the estimation. If you finished a product quicker than you expected, it just means you have been efficient and you should be rewarded for that. Another reason why I think it's fair is because even though you should always overestimate the amount of hours you think you're going to spend, you'll still underestimate sometimes. So on some projects you might give a range of $1,600 to $2,000, but it actually ends up at $2,200. So on some projects you might lose some money, then on other projects you'll make more money than expected. So, in short, estimate how many hours you think you're gonna need, multiply that by whatever you want to be paid per hour, add in the VATs if you have to, add the material cost, and then I usually add around 25% more to that, and give a range, not an exact number. So for this specific project, the custom bathroom vanity, I told the client it would be somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500. They agreed to that, I built it, and it ended up costing $2,000, which is what I charged. So let me know what you think. Have you done any custom work? How did you calculate the price? What do you think about my way of pricing a project? Let me know what you think. And by the way, here is the finished bathroom vanity after the client installed it and added the sink. If you want to see another bathroom vanity that I did a few years ago, check out this video. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.